Well, Steve Newman is standing by now to fill us in on what went on weather-wise today. And I can tell you this one thing, we set a brand new record which may never be broken again.
How many days has it been 100 this year? 53. The last record was 52, set back in 1954, and it looks like tomorrow will be our 54th day if things go well. This is what summer should be, starting off in May about 80 and peaking off in August about 98 degrees, but we have been nowhere near normal this year, and we're going to plot the temperatures for 1980.
Hey guys, what's going on? It's me, Jimmy. Today, we're talking about something I actually really like. So I have a big goofy smile on my face, and that's because we're talking about summertime. Just summertime. So without further ado, let's jump right into it, yeah? So summertime, I know I'm being extremely vague about that. What exactly am I going to talk about? I'm legitimately just going to wax nostalgic for the summertime of my youth. So summertime was a time for me as a kid growing up where I would spend the majority of my time playing games, watching TV, literally just whatever I wanted. It was a lot of fun growing up in the 90s. Growing up in the 90s was a lot of fun for me. I do have a lot of fond memories of it. I remember going to Blockbuster, like literally like the middle of the week on Wednesdays. And then, hell, like, going to the video store that was, like, right near us, back when we lived back in my old town. I remember that. There was a little video shop that was a couple blocks away. I think it was maybe, like, not even 2 minutes driving or something like that. It's a very, very vague, like, not even vague memory, but it's a memory that I have very, very small bits and pieces of. I remember that was the place where we rented Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles on tape. I do remember that. I remember the tapes for that. I do also remember renting DuckTales on VHS. I remember renting so many freaking just cartoons in general, a lot of Disney classics growing up. It was a pretty interesting time. As I said, growing up, I spent all of my summers watching TV. It was either watching, so essentially just Animaniacs, because that was my big draw, was just watching Animaniacs. None of that. What was that guy's name? Like Max Steel or whatever the hell? I think that was on later on. I think when we moved here. I believe so, anyway. Watching Animaniacs, watching Looney Tunes, or Tiny Toons, I guess I should say, which, speaking of which, I am wearing a Looney Tunes tank top today. Fits in with the theme. Yeah, I remember that. I remember, I remember Kids WB as well. That was a lot of fun. It was an interesting time growing up. It was definitely an interesting time. We did have the internet. It was just very, very slow. Like, ridiculously slow. I'm pretty sure if you talk to anyone who's been around longer than smartphones, they'll tell you that, oh yeah, internet used to suck. It was really slow. You got that dial-up noise, and like you couldn't talk on the phone at the same time. So if you had two phone lines, you were just the coolest kid on the block. Funny thing as well, actually, speaking of phone lines, I also remember as well, someone in the apartment complex that I lived at actually had an X-band. So, for those of you which is probably a lot of you, probably a lot of you. So for those of you who are uninitiated in the X-band was this massive cartridge that you'd plop on top of your Super Nintendo or Sega Genesis, and then you'd plop a game that was compatible with it to play online. That was absolutely wild. I have memories playing Super Mario Kart online, Mortal Kombat 2, even though I was absolutely awful at it. Like, I was really bad at that game. I was really, really bad at that game. I really enjoyed them. I just sucked at them. The only one I was mildly alright at was Mortal Kombat 3. Other than that, though, all the other ones, pretty awful at. I'm better at the newer ones, but nah. But yeah, so summertime, all the heat, a lot of ice water, a lot of pepino con limon y chile. So, you know, just cut up cucumbers, some chili and lime for a lot of you. That was a big staple of my childhood. I always eat that. Bear in mind too, I was a really heavy-set kid. I was made fun of a lot, so I wasn't allowed to go out. Otherwise to get the crap knocked out of me, like really easily. Plus, too, I was the biggest crybaby in the world, like a really big crybaby. I was a really, and so like kids picked on me. Oh well, oops, we can't all be the toughest kids on the block, right? Plus, too, I owned a Nintendo. The area where I grew up in, if you owned a Nintendo, you're viewed as the weak kid. Because, you know, Sega came out, had a cool black system, they had tough looking games like Streets of Rage, and all that random junk like console wars. Which was kind of funny, which those attack ads that Sega ran they were the best. I really like those attack ads. But yeah, guys, my summer consisted of TV, video games, renting movies from Blockbuster, a little video store down below, or down the block, I should say. There's like the main three things I would do. Staying up late as well, that was a really big thing. Because growing up as a kid, I was not allowed to stay up past 8:30. I had to be in bed at 8:30. No questions about it. Couldn't question my parents about it. I think the only exceptions to that were if we were watching a film together as a family, or we were watching WWF. But that was a little bit later on in life. Yeah, so those were the only ways we would stay up. WWF, which, I mean, come on. If it's an excuse to stay up, I'll take it. Or watching a family film. Or if we were just out and about already, just all day. My summers were just consisted of that. And it's always fun to talk to people about what their summers consisted of. Because, you know, of course, we also had our camping trips as well to, like, the Sequoia National Forest, or, like, the Kern River, or, Jesus Christ, like, whatever other freaking place we went to. But I want to know, guys, I grew up in the 90s. I have very, very, very fond memories of the 90s. I did the most of my development in the 2000s, in the early 2000s. I had a lot more development there as well. Because, you know, those memories felt fresher as well. And I want to know, guys, what was it like growing up for you during the summertime? Like, what were some activities you did? Like, did you have an inflatable pool as well that you hung out in? Like, we had an inflatable pool. Just freaking dipped right in there. Let me know, guys. Thank you so much. And have an absolutely radical day. And hey, stay absolutely radical, alright, guys?